and watched me. Then, all of a sudden, he took a hard bite out of his own lower lip. The squishy sound made my skin crawl.
Ew.
Blood began to trickle down his chin, yet he continued
Okay, I'm giving you
to
the
smile.
gun. Relax.
His smile widened the more he bled. Using his bloodied fingers, he took the stick of gum, opened it, put it in his mouth, and chewed it softly. His eyes rolled up
Okay,
in a
get your
sick
freak
pleasure
ass
as he
off my
continued
stuff.
chewing. Seeing me look at him with shock and disgust, he spoke for the first time as if he hadn't spoken in days. I like my flavor of gum better.
What's good, y'all? Your like your boys back at Battle Banks, a buzzing battle, and welcome back to on to Spooks Gay Friday. Don't forget to like the change, but getting to your boy was react to 3 true Eric Cole key horror stories animated by MRS Character. The original video in the description. Go check it out. And let's get into it, y'all boys. Don't forget to like the change.
I
But just
experienced
knocking on,
this at the
you
age
know
of
me.
19. It was late at night, and I was driving home alone after leaving a party a few towns over. The highway was deserted at nearly 2:30 a.m.
Oh,
I
stop.
discovered my gas tank was nearly empty after 20 minutes of driving. Fortunately, I noticed a tiny Circle K sign illuminated in the distance. It was the only choice, but it had an old, dilapidated appearance. I parked next to one of the pumps after pulling into the lot. It was empty. I couldn't see anyone inside the store, even though the lights were on. In an attempt to get the attendant to come out and assist, I honked my horn once. Still nothing. I got out to pump the gas
I mean,
myself
gotta go
because
pump
I
the
was
gas
cold,
and-
irritated, and running late at that point.
Yeah.
At that moment, I felt goosebumps. A
Why?
big glass window close to the Circle K's front was badly cracked. Someone appeared to have thrown something heavy, perhaps a rock or even a brick. I stopped and gazed at it. A spiderweb pattern of broken glass covered the pane. I
It's
felt
always gotta be
uneasy.
that.
After
Always.
hurriedly filling up the
Always.
tank, I locked my car and went inside to
Oh
take
my
a
god,
look.
y'all just
I have
losing
no
me, dog.
idea why I did. Maybe I wanted to make sure nobody was hurt inside. The bell above
Stop.
the door jingled as I pushed it open, but there was no one at the counter. I called out a quick,
Hello?
but only silence remained. A shelf in one of the snack aisles near the back was overturned, and bags of candy and chips were all over the place. It looked like a struggle had happened. The place wasn't trashed entirely, but just enough to hint something's not right here.
Yeah,
I was
you're
about
right.
to pull out my phone and call 911 when I heard footsteps. A
What's
man
that?
walked out from the back storage room,
Oh.
dressed in a Circle K uniform.
But your
He
shit is
looked
dirty. You better
off.
clean this old shit
His
up.
shirt was wrinkled and half untucked. There were sweat marks on his collar and his name tag was missing. He looked tense, as if he wasn't ready for a customer. He smiled at me in this really forced way and said, "Sorry about that. I had to take care of a mess in the back." I
But
tried
let's
to
mess
act
in front of you right
casual
now.
and said,
On the
It's
floor.
okay. I just needed some gas.
He nodded and went behind the counter. I asked him if everything was all right, and he laughed nervously. Yeah. Some kids tried to break in earlier. They broke the window and made a mess, but I chased them off. My instinct
you got the
told me
kids.
he was lying.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
eyes kept shifting toward the back room. As I turned to glance at the door from which he had come, I noticed something unusual. There were two
Kids.
legs just barely visible through the small crack in the door. They were lying completely still on the floor. The shoes were pointed upwards. I tried not to react, awkwardly smiling. I informed him that I needed to use the bathroom. He paused for a moment to think, then nodded in response. With trembling hands, I took out my phone and locked the bathroom door after entering. I whispered everything I saw to 911. I
Shit.
told them about the body in the back room, the strange guy, the shelf, and the broken window. The dispatcher informed me that officers were
could
already
be
on their way
miscommunication.
and advised me to remain locked in the
It can't be
restroom.
miscommunication,
I
I'm just
spent
saying.
what seemed like an eternity inside. I heard the man breathing heavily as he passed the door at one point. Perhaps he was aware that I had seen too much. I remained silent and held my breath. 10 minutes or so later, I heard police sirens outside. The front doors exploded open. I heard
The milk
shots
is
and
old.
footsteps, then a loud crash that resembled a temple.
Damn!
A few minutes later, a police officer knocked on the bathroom door. I opened it and saw two officers waiting for me. One let me outside, while the other stayed in to secure the
I got a
scene.
good taste buds.
It turns out
This
the
milk
guy
is
wasn't
expired.
a Circle K employee. He was a known criminal with a record of break-ins and robberies. According to the
Damn.
officers, he had walked into the store less than 10 minutes before I got there and had gotten into an argument with the real clerk, who was just a 22-year-old guy working the night shift.
Oh my god.
Things escalated and he stabbed him during the struggle. The cops said if I had come in just a few minutes earlier, I might have walked in while it was happening, or worse, been part of
Wow.
it. They found the clerk's body in the storage room.
You
The
robbed
guy
him
had
to
tried
become
to
the.
hide it, but hadn't gotten the chance before I arrived.
Wow.
He was probably going to clean up the scene and take the cash before disappearing. To this day, I can't stop thinking about how close I came to dying. I still drive that same highway sometimes, but no matter what, I make sure I fill up before I leave, and I never stop at that Circle K. On a rainy Thursday night, I was working my usual shift at Circle K. This place was just off the highway, with an empty road on one side and woods on the other. Most nights around this time, I barely see any customers, just the occasional trucker or someone grabbing a drink on their drive home. I was standing behind the counter, restocking some gum packs, when the front door slammed open. As I turned back, I noticed a girl standing barefoot, completely drenched from head to toe. She had a small cut on her forehead and hair uprooted in places on her head. She appeared to be around 16 or 17 years old and was panting continuously, as if she were having difficulty breathing.
No shit. That breath is hot.
Hey, you alright?
At first, she didn't respond. She simply stood there, trembling, staring at me. I walked closer and asked again in a softer tone.
Please, help me. I don't want to go back.
Her words sounded like riddles. I gave her a towel and asked,
Go back where? Did someone hurt you? Just call the cops now!
I called 911. Everything about her gave a strong indication that something awful had happened to her. I kept looking at the girl while I was on the phone with the 911 operator. I don't know why, but her face seemed familiar.
The cops are on their way.
I tried talking to her while we waited. She didn't answer when I asked her name. She finally responded when I asked her how she got into the woods.
It was him. My master.
Yo,
But
master.
I'm scared of him now.
I felt
Hey,
sick
yo.
to my stomach when I heard the word master.
What?
Hex now.
Who's master?
Her eyes widened
Kinky
if
ass
she weren't
shit.
fully present when she gazed at me.
He keeps me at the cabin in the woods. Sometimes he feeds me with his mouth. He says,
Nasty.
I'm here to serve him.
My heart was
Nasty
racing
ass
as I
shit.
sat there listening. She continued explaining how he punished her when she made a mistake. She said he plucks out her nails as offerings. It's been 2 weeks and I only have one nail left.
What
She
the
lifted
fuck?
her hand and I jumped, seeing the tip of her fingers.
Okay, yo.
That's when it hit me. I'd seen her photo on Facebook on a missing person post.
Whoa.
She was the girl who vanished about 2 weeks ago from a town 30 miles away.
Damn.
Just as I was about to ask if her name was what I remembered from the post, a van pulled into the lot. The headlights were off. It rolled up slowly, stopping right in front of the store.
Tinted
Then,
windows?
the driver honked, just once. The girl's face went pale. Her lips trembled as she whispered.
Master's here.
Without thinking, I bolted to the front and locked the doors.
Yup.
The driver of the van
W.
stepped out. He was alarmingly tall and wore this dark raincoat. He had an expressionless face with blue eyes that sent a shiver down my spine.
You freaky
He
ass
approached
bitch.
the glass, gazed at the girl, and then looked at me. Let her out! She's mine! You have no idea what you're doing!
Bitch
I
is
told
not a
him the
property.
cops were on the way, but that only made him angrier. He started slamming his fists on the glass. I genuinely believed he was going to break it. The girl
Nah, he ain't
sobbed
strong.
as she curled up in the corner. I tried my best to remain composed as I stood between her and the door. This continued for a minute, and I was sure I'd fight him till the last drop if he got in. Just then, sirens from a cop car echoed from a distance. The man ran back to the van and sped off into the darkness. The cops came in, guns drawn, checking every corner of the store. Once they were sure it was safe, I told them everything. The girl confirmed her story and even pointed out a small symbol she said he made her carve into a tree near where she escaped. The cops radioed it in and said they'd search the area immediately. Within an hour, they had found the makeshift shack deep in the woods, along with evidence confirming she had been kept there. By the next morning, they had arrested the man. He had a long record of disturbing behavior that had somehow flown under the radar for years. The girl's parents came to see me at the store 2 days later. They cried so hard they could barely speak. Her mom hugged me and thanked me
So you're not
over
gonna
and
pay
over.
me. I'm just saying.
The cops said if she hadn't run into the Circle K, or if I haven't stopped the man, things could have ended very differently. It's been months now, and I still think about that night. I work the day shift now. I can't bring myself to be in that store alone after dark anymore. Not after hearing what that girl had been through. And not after seeing that look in the man's eyes, like he really believed she belonged to him. Some nights, I still see his face in the window, even though I know he's locked up. Some images just don't go away. Back then, I was working the night shift at a Circle K, located on the outskirts of town, when this incident took place. The majority of the nights were quiet, with only a few truckers, late-night snackers, or the odd suspicious customer, and I was the only worker there. But that night was different. It was around 1:15 a.m. I remember the time because I had just refilled the coffee station and was about to heat a frozen burrito in the back. Outside, the fog had gotten thick, so thick you couldn't see more than a few feet beyond the parking lot. The only road in or out was barely visible through the haze, and we were surrounded by woods. I was halfway through a soda when I saw a man coming out of the fog. He was walking slowly. He didn't even have a flashlight. He came from the side of the store where there was nothing but trees. He wore a thin jacket that didn't seem nearly warm enough for the cold, wet air. What unsettled me the most
Big ass
was his
nose.
face. He had a wide, unnatural smile that never went away. He appeared to be in his mid-40s and had a slight baldness on the top of his head. Under the fluorescent lights, his pale skin looked gray, almost like a corpse. Without hesitation,
What's
he
that
opened
paper
the
right
door
there?
and stepped inside.
On
A rush
a
of
mirror.
damp, cold air flew in
glass.
as the automatic door slid open. He remained silent for a few seconds, oddly scanning the store. I greeted him as I usually do. "Hey there, let me know if you need anything." He totally ignored me without saying a single word and began walking through the aisles, never picking anything up. But he kept stopping at the security mirrors, those convex mirrors we have in the corners of the
Those are
ceiling.
security
He
mirrors?
would stand underneath one and just stare into it. Initially, I suspected that he might be under the influence of drugs or
Yep.
experiencing a mental health
Maybe.
issue. I've seen plenty of customers like that over the years. Searching the store for quite some time, he finally made his way up to the counter. I kept a close eye on him just in case. Without a word, he took out a crumpled dollar bill and slammed it against the counter. He pointed to a stick of gum from the little box we keep by the register and said, "I'll take one of these." I tried to be
Okay.
normal as I rang it up.
I mean, you
He
need 'em.
simply stood there and watched me. Then, all of a sudden, he took a hard bite out of his own lower lip. The squishy sound made my skin crawl.
Ew.
Blood began to trickle down his chin, yet he continued
Okay, I'm giving you
to
the gum,
smile.
relax.
His smile widened the more he bled. Using his bloodied fingers, he took the stick of gum, opened it, put it in his mouth, and chewed it softly. His eyes rolled up
Okay,
in a
get your
sick
freak
pleasure
ass
as he
off my
continued
stuff.
chewing. Seeing me look at him with shock and disgust, he spoke for the first time as if he hadn't spoken in days. "I like my flavor of gum better," and started laughing.
I mean, that's your choice, so, you know?
Without saying another word, he turned around and left. I saw him disappear into the fog. That seemed to be the end of it. I was mistaken. 15 minutes or so later, the guy was back, and now he was standing outside the window, staring right at me. His smile remained unwavering. The expression on his face remained unchanged. He didn't knock. He didn't move. He just stood there.
So what you want? You want
watching me.
another gum?
This went on for almost 20 minutes. I
Okay,
didn't want to
bro.
go outside, obviously. I kept trying to focus on anything else. My phone, the camera monitors.
You can,
counting
with somebody
cash,
looking at
but
you,
my
bro.
eyes constantly drifted back to the window. He was still watching. He didn't blink. He just smiled. Finally, I picked up the store phone and held it up so he could see. "I'm calling the cops," I mouthed. He tilted his head slightly, then spat the bloody gum on the glass. The gum stuck to it with saliva and blood dripping down the glass. He winked at me like he had just cracked the funniest joke, then walked back into the fog. Although we are technically not supposed to, I left right away. I didn't give a damn. Next morning, when the manager showed up, I told her everything. She just nodded and said she'd report it, but didn't seem too concerned. I quit the night shift the same day and requested to move to daytime hours.
Yep.
A week later, another clerk from a nearby station said he saw the same guy, same smile, same bloody mouth, walking along the shoulder of the highway, chewing gum and laughing to himself. The authorities still didn't report him to the cops because the man hadn't done any physical harm to anyone.
Yep.
I still work at Circle K, but I'll never work the night shift again.
How
Not
hard you
after
gotta
encountering
bite your
that
goddamn...
man. There's something deeply
like,
wrong
do
with a guy
that.
who doesn't feel the cold, who walks barefoot through fog, who enjoys tasting his own blood, and laughs like it's all a joke. Some people
Boy, you
are
know
just
how
wrong,
hard you gotta
and I
bite?
hope I never see him again.
Hey man, you know how hard you gotta bite to get a taste of your own blood? Look, we just damn. This is some of the best reactions, bro. Not one of the best, but you feel me? Look at the how it's 16. So it's 17. I'm gonna see you boys in the next one. Hope you enjoy some peace.